It is remarkable. Here it is. The scene is the Oval Office. It's one of those photo ops that they do, right? That we're so used to seeing. You got a foreign dignitary. You got the Secretary of State, J.D. Vance is there. The president's there, sitting in the same chairs that they're usually sitting in. They bring the press in, and usually there's just some perfunctory questions and answers. And then things start to get real. Zelensky tries to play a little cutesy game there and tries to publicly confront Trump over whether he's supporting Ukraine enough. And that's when J.D. Vance stepped in.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
Trump's about to jump down his throat. Did you hear what he's saying? Do you understand what he's saying? Oh, you're lucky. You've got oceans to protect you, okay? But you're going to feel it in the future. Putin's coming after you too. You'll see it. You don't protect that. He's playing this game, right? Can I just explain it? Who is this little guy? I'm sorry. I've tried to not, take sides in this whole Russian-Ukraine thing. Listen, Russia rolled tanks across their borders. That's wrong. They're bad. They're the aggressors. People have died. Let's end this thing, right? But I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that the United States of America, with our ocean borders, has had to fight the Cold War against the Russians for like 60 years. We were one button push away from hydrogen bombs destroying every major city in our country. How dare you suggest that we don't know what it's like to be under threat from Russia? I'm sorry, have you ever read a history book, pal? Oh, that's right, because back then your country was part of the Soviet Union. You had those very nuclear ICBMs sitting in your territory when they were focused and aimed at us. So don't try to lecture us about what kind of threat we have. Watch Trump jump in here, because that's where it's like Trump is sitting there. He's letting JD jump in, do the whole thing. But then Zelensky starts to push the button saying, oh, just wait till you're under threat. Watch Trump. This is brilliant.
From the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position
this
to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brahma,
position.
I
You don't
was
have
in-
the cards right now. With us, you start
I'm
having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
Yeah, you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
It's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
I'm wearing
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
you said thank
Even
you.
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for
What-
the United
what
States
are
of
you
America
speaking about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
No matter where you stand on the Ukraine-Russia war and whether the United States should have the level of involvement we have right now, whether it should increase, whether we should take this, whatever your position is on it, to be able to see interaction like this between world leaders over an issue like this in real time, not behind closed doors, not all the, cutesy handshakes and the smacks on the butt and no, yeah, we're all on the same team, we'll be fine. And then the doors are closed, the cameras get turned off, and then they're all at each other's throats. No, we're seeing it happen. And you're seeing a president and a vice president actually defending your country and demanding some respect. some gratitude. And I don't think anyone's ever talked to him like this. I don't think anyone's ever talked to President Zelensky like this. Again, regardless of where you stand, this is compelling and unbelievable to watch unfold before our eyes. There's a little bit more of this. Apparently, what happened here was, they're having the photo up. They're all talking. J.D. Vance started talking about getting back to a position where we're utilizing diplomacy to end the war. That was never tried. Biden from the very beginning, remember when the tanks were lined up on the border, and Biden, they never said, okay, let's use our diplomatic efforts. No, Biden was like, well, if it's just a minor incursion, then we won't do much about it. Remember that line? Which is basically giving Putin permission to roll in. What is a minor incursion exactly? And then as soon as the tanks started rolling, he offered Zelensky, a sanctuary to get the hell out of the country. Zelensky decides he's going to defend his country. And then, well, here come the blank checks. Here comes the funnel of money, right? And then all it was whatever it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter how much it costs, we're going to be, it's like, you tell a guy like Zelensky in a corrupt country like Ukraine, no matter how long it takes, no matter how much it costs, trust me, it's going to take a long time and it's going to cost a lot of money because they all got their little beaks in there and they got to wet their beaks. So now you got a guy who comes in and say, hey, let's go back and try diplomacy. J.D. Vance says that for the photo op. Suddenly Zelensky starts to chime in and say, well, the diplomacy is important, but at the same time, we need to do, and he starts debating this thing while the cameras are rolling and tries to publicly shame Vance and Trump in the Oval Office in front of all these cameras. So Vance says, well, that's what you just saw. That's where Vance picked up. All right. Trump keeps going. Let's keep watching.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards, but without us, you don't have any cards.
All right. To be fair, Obama gave blankets, not sheets. I got to tell it like it is. You expect truth and facts from me. I think Trump's going off the top of his head. He knew that betting was involved. It was blankets. It's true. Russia invades Crimea, annexes Crimea. It was 2014. Joe Biden was vice president. Barack Obama was president. We did nothing. President Obama, Joe Biden did nothing except deliver blankets. Trump gets in there, delivers armaments, delivers javelins to take out the tanks, right? To protect the borders, to protect Ukraine should Russia venture beyond Crimea. Then suddenly Biden becomes president and he expects Russia to let go of Crimea when he did nothing about it back when it first happened, which of course was setting up the entire peace negotiation to fail, because he was expecting Russia to give up something that was never expected for them to give up back when they first took it. So they never intended to actually get a lasting peace here. So it's blankets, not sheets. But, I don't mean to split hairs.
Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
We gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
By the way, the reason Zelensky's here in Washington, D.C., well, I should say they're in Washington, D.C. I'm actually not in D.C. today. The reason he's there is to sign an agreement that will extend America's presence and a lasting security in that country, because now we're going to have a participation in the rare earth mineral rights. This was all supposed to be a happy, wonderful photo op where we have, a pathway towards peace. And he decides to start picking this fight with the cameras rolling. And boy, listen, I have no doubt that the conversation when the cameras leave the Oval Office was going to be something similar to what you're seeing right now. I doubt it would be as explosive as we get to see right now if Zelensky hadn't done this with the cameras rolling. But he's not used to dealing with people like this. He grandstands, he thumps his chest, he says all this stuff, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, good for you, we love you. And Trump's like, no. Hell no. Not just no, hell no. This is an amazing thing to behold. Here, a little bit more.
going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times, thank you to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on out here. I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you'll get a ceasefire faster than it agrees.
I want you to see how this entire thing started. We just got the clip released from the pool because, the White House Correspondents Association is no longer involved with the pool. So we're getting rapid response now. About time. We'll watch this from the beginning. It should be noted that this morning in Washington, D.C. is the National Prayer Breakfast. J.D. Vance gave a compelling and very critical speech. You should find it. Find the clips are at Town Hall, I'm sure, where he talked about his faith. And, if you're a Christian, if you're, any part of the Judeo-Christian faith community, peace is a compelling principle and value that we have. To stop the killing and to get a ceasefire in this conflict is critically important if you care about life, if you care about human life and care about, our mandate to be peacemakers on this planet. And I think it's relevant that they come from the National Prayer Service talking about our values and our principles, come in here talking about using diplomacy to reach a peace. And this guy's like, well, yeah, okay, peace, sure, but still, we got a lot of fighting to do. You know what I'm saying? All right, you want to see the whole speech? You want to see the whole clip? I think you do. This is the entire exchange now, starting from where Zelensky starts to play fun little cutesy games, and J.D. Vance was having none of it. Take a look now. Let's watch it from the top.
What kind of diplomacy, J.D., you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President.
That's right. In fact, they used American money through USAID to bring people like Ben Stiller over there to do a big photo op, millions of dollars to fly them over there, Hollywood actors to do a propaganda photo op that we paid for, by the way. And also, Zelensky's an actor. And, again, I have mixed feelings about this whole war thing. I don't like Russia. I'm not thrilled with Zelensky. J.D. Vance served in combat as a United States Marine. He was in Iraq. He's seen fighting. Dare I say he's got more experience and understands warfare a little bit more than the former TV comedian here turned. What is he dressed like, a commando today? He chose black instead of green. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in there because everything about this is insulting. What kind of diplomacy are you talking about, JD? By the way, he called him JD instead of Mr. Vice President. Just saying. And then he says, well, have you been to Ukraine? Have you seen what we've got? I'm sorry. I think J.D. Vance has earned the right to make an opinion about warfare and about diplomacy, given the fact that he's a combat veteran as a United States Marine from Iraq. All right. I'll let him go.
Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this.
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the
bad
very
position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right
From
about
the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position.
I
You don't
was
have
in-
the cards right now. With us, you start
I'm
having
not playing
cards. But
cards.
right now, you
I'm
don't. Yeah,
very
you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What do you-
III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
I'm wearing
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A
This
lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for
What-
the United States
what
of
you're speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country is
Can I-
in big
can-
trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I-
You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank-
president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
for
you
your
military equipment.
You
And you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this, I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I
Accept-
said a lot of
accept
times
that
thank
there-
you
accept
to
that-
American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on out here. I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But
But
you're
I
saying you
said-
don't want a
But I
ceasefire.
said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That
It
wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what.
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
Have you ever seen anything like this? Do you, I mean, I'm, it's incredible. It's an incredible thing to watch. And listen, it's not a good look for Zelensky. If you take a look at it, you recognize why he has canceled the elections coming up, why he doesn't want to face the voters in his country. He keeps saying, oh, my people don't want to end the war. My people don't want to cease fire. Really, how do we know? Considering the fact that he's canceled his upcoming elections, it'd be a great opportunity for the people of Ukraine to actually give the president a vote of confidence on how he's been conducting this. When we were in the middle of World War II, Franklin Roosevelt put himself up for re-election multiple times. There was actually talk back then, if you look at the history books, about suspending our elections because World War II was too important, but no. And by the way, opposition party at the time, the Republicans, they had criticisms of how Franklin Roosevelt was conducting the war. That's fair game. That's what happens when you've got a democratic process, as we do in our constitutional republic. But it's something that the people of Ukraine aren't allowed to have a voice in. That's why he suspended his elections, which tells you everything that you need to know. That was quintessential Donald Trump in action. And boy, what a 1-2 punch with JD Vance laying in there. And make no mistake about it. You saw it. We played it from the start there of the entire exchange. President Zelensky started this whole thing. He could have sat there, he could have smiled, he could have nodded and waited for the doors to be closed with the media on the other side of the doors and then start getting into it. But he chose to grandstand in front of those cameras and microphones. And Trump said, okay, you want to do it like this? Let's do it like this. Zelensky has a lot of media experience. He's, a former TV show comedian, performer. Donald Trump knows a thing or two about working the media as well, especially the American media, especially the Western world media. And my initial instinct on this, I think Trump wins this round. And it may be the final round, actually. I am curious in your comments whether you are disturbed by this, that, this is not a good look for the American president to sort of hang Zelensky out to dry here because we should be helping him because people, or do you think that Zelensky's in the wrong here? I tend to have a hunch that you're on Team Trump on this one. Statement from President Donald J. Trump. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion. And I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. Wow. I think we're seeing a FAFO moment right now in the White House, and I think we just watched the FA part, and now President Zelensky and sadly the people of Ukraine are diving right into the FO part. That's President Trump basically announcing that we're cutting Ukraine off. If he wants to come back and change his tune and change his attitude and actually move toward peace, we're there for him, and we'll work with him, and we'll get it done. But based on the attitude he just displayed, he's on his own. Go work it out with Vladimir. Oh, but I'm told that all the European allies are going to rally. They don't need us anymore, right? You see all the saber rattling there from France and from England and from Belgium. And I think Canada was in that meeting too. They're planning on charting the new course now in protecting Europe without America picking up all of the bills and putting all of our boots on the ground. Okay, so let's see how that works out. That'll be good. Good. Seriously. And I'm being completely genuine. If Europe can defend itself without us, God bless them. That's great. It's going to really hit their free healthcare that they all love so much. It's going to be hard to pay for it when you're actually paying for a military to defend yourself. But that's good. Go with God. God bless you. Good stuff. By the way, I said this is a FAFO moment. I think I caught the moment, the specific moment. This is Zelensky in the FA part of FAFO. And now you're about to see, watch his face. The FO part is coming. Here it comes. This is right there. Right there. It is at that moment when President Vladimir Zelensky realized that he's no longer dealing with Joe Biden. That look at his face. Look at that screenshot. That moment, that is when we transition officially from FA to FO. And everything's going to fall down from there. That was a big strategic error. Once again, you just saw it. When Zelensky said, yo, you're all safe here with your oceans over here in America. You got this beautiful ocean as your border, but soon you're going to find out. And that's what triggered. That's what stopped. It was all downhill from there. Because the suggestion, and this has been, the Liz Cheneys of the world and the Kamala Harrises and the Joe Bidens of the world and everyone else, General Milley and Lloyd Austin, they bought into this, or they perpetuated this whole thing, that Putin was Stalin, Putin was Hitler, Putin was going to start World War III. And if we don't stop him in Ukraine, if we don't give a blank check and a unrestricted, no strings attached commitment to Ukraine, then we'll be next, right? He's going to roll through Poland. He's going to roll through the Baltics. He's going to roll through France. And then he's going to be marching down Times Square. And that was the narrative. And nobody stood up and said, and really? Are we sure? Because if you did, you were Putin's puppet. You're part of Russian propaganda. Yeah, well, that didn't work. Okay. That didn't work. And now we're all allowed to say, really? Really? If we don't give a blank check with no strings attached and no expectations to one of the most corrupt countries on the planet, Ukraine, then the next thing you know, America will be conquered by Vladimir Putin and Russia? Really? And he tried to play that game. He tried to say, oh, you've got these nice oceans here for your border. You've got your nice oceans for protection, but soon you'll find out. And look at Trump. No. Look at him. And let's blow it up again, Kevin. Look at the expression on Zelensky's face where the moment he realizes that he can't play that game and that we're no longer playing along with that. Don't tell us what we're threatened by. Don't tell us what's going to happen if we don't support you. Don't play that because we ain't playing it. And so now the FA is done and the FO begins. Amazing moment. Amazing moment. I don't know how it ends. I don't. But I love the world that we're living in right now. That with this president, and what a 1-2 punch, what a team with Trump and Vance. Really phenomenal stuff there. C-SPAN is announcing Trump and Zelensky's joint news conference has been canceled. No surprise there. And our buddy Phil Wegman over at Real Clear Politics, White House correspondent, Hillsdale grad, says Trump appears to have kicked Zelensky out of the White House. His motorcade is pulling up to the West Wing now. Holy Moses. World history developing before our very eyes in real time.